So I was just trying to sleep, and I've got this picture in my head about what I would like to do when it comes to changing our agriculture. And I'm picturing vertical farms, and I'm trying to picture. See, one of the problems we've got is that we've got soil erosion. And so I'm trying to figure out how we can do vertical farming, meanwhile, fixing or rejuvenating the soil around the project so that we can get, well, in my mind, so we can get soil that's good to plant more trees. And the thought occurs to me that the ideas I'm coming up with aren't profitable. And even if somehow I became successful at this, I found all the right answers to get the soil rejuvenated, the crops growing vertically so that they're farmable and profitable. One day, I won't be around. Even if somehow in the next 20 years I figure out a way to get all this stuff working, what'll happen after me, or even before that, in this fantasy world, is somebody will look at my project and say, well, this could be far more profitable. You don't need to spend these resources on rejuvenating the soil. That's better spent put back into more profit. And then it occurred to me that we've been doing that for a long time. I remember when I was a kid hearing stories about those corporate raiders that would buy up companies and make them more profitable. They'd sell off equipment, fire employees, try to disband the pensions. And I'm not saying everything was perfect before, but how many of those people that we just got rid of because they didn't fit the new profit outlook actually had those secrets? They did things that were not profitable, but they were better. How many decades of that has been going on? Is that a cause? Probably a cause. Is it a leading cause to why things are eroding the way they are? And of course, that's just more of the same, that the more profit flows to the top, the better supposedly it is for everybody. But we're seeing that trickle down theory of economy doesn't work. It doesn't trickle down. It doesn't. Okay, for a time there, yeah, there was a thriving middle class, but no, there's more hunger to be at the top, so there's more need to step on the bottom. So even if we do solve, even if my dreams come true where I get a project where I can work on these things and figure these things and get the data, create the data that can be shared to make the projects replicatable, so that all over the world we can start to rejuvenate rather than strip the minerals and strip the value out of our earth. It won't be in the most optimally profitable way. So it comes back to that perspective, that change in our morals, that change in our moral view of the world. If I've said in other videos, and I'll probably go on about it in more videos to come, but that creative versus entropic morality. If what we're doing leads to entropic results, meaning if we buy out a company and we sell off all the things that were, it looks better, it looks more creative from a profit margin, but it's more entropic from almost every other perspective. It's entropic for the employees that lost their pensions, their jobs, their livelihoods. It's entropic for the environments that we stopped caring about because it wasn't profitable. And yeah, maybe in a lot of cases it was just a little bit, like in my example, that trying to enrich in the soil around the project That's just a little bit. That's just a little thing. But if we do these little things over and over and over again, because they're replicable and because they're profitable, then we get a large scale impact because everybody does it. Everybody wants to race to the top of the profits, so everybody does it. It's that view of morality that needs to be adjusted. It can no longer be, oh, well, that's sad. Yeah, that's wrong and that's sad. It needs to be, no, that's wrong, that's immoral. It has to be a fundamental change for us. It can no longer be something that's just on the periphery of our ethics. I mean, how much have we lost? How many secrets are gone that we're going to have to rediscover? Granted, the data we can collect and share now is far more accurate. We can spread it a lot wider. But we have to regenerate it now. We can't, hopefully we can, draw on some of it from the past that isn't completely forgotten yet. But if we don't change that moral view, if we don't enhance our moral views, we're only going to do it again. Because 20, 40 years from now, if we were successful right now, if it's not a question of ethics and morality, we'll just do it all over again, because profits are it's a powerful force. It's a very powerful force that it feels creative when you're doing these things and creating profits. That feels creative, but the entropic results, those are what need to be cataloged, because we have a lot of work to do. One of my solutions to keep people occupied, to give people purpose, is this need to be a benefit, be a net positive for our environment. And if these things aren't codified into our morality, if it isn't, well, you see somebody doing, it's profitable. If there isn't a gut check, that has to be stopped. There has to be enforcement in place to stop that. I get that we have that. I mean, if you dump in toxic chemicals, but it seems like it's only the extreme. And even then, it's a fine and you can get away with it. Sometimes you have to pay to clean it up, but how often do you just delegate that out and roll it off as a loss in profits? It's the idea that it's just business. That needs to be changed. It needs to be in our guts that has to be stopped. That can't continue. If you have made profit that way or are making profit that way, you need to be stopped. You are not responsible enough to have that wealth. See, I've said before, wealth and competition are important to progress. But I don't think everybody that has wealth should have wealth. If you've made your wealth, your fortune, doing these entropic things, okay, maybe it doesn't have to, we don't just take it from you now. Not even saying that that's possible. But this is an awakening for us. Because it was done in the past doesn't mean you're liable for the future, necessarily. We're waking up to this now. Maybe we're taking too long to have done it, but we've all operated within a system that has glorified these tactics. And to say that somebody is wicked because they've used these tactics isn't necessarily true. They've operated within that system. Sometimes they develop that system too, but this is how we as a collective society wanted it. Those people were, sometimes vilified, but also the results, that collection of wealth and power, we have glorified. So in some sense, we have wanted it. But going forward, as these discoveries and these systems are built, as this data is collected, going forward, if you are gathering wealth by using or by creating entropic results, from this point on, it needs to be recognized that you aren't worthy of that wealth, and that wealth needs to be stripped and put right back into the public good, not some fat cat or some whistleblower or another form of graft. No, it needs to be put back into the projects. That's one of the problems with the fines. What happens to all these fines? Are they used for anything to actually reverse the harm that's been done? Does that system need an overhaul as well? How do we start to affect that system? It all comes back to that basic starting point. These views need to be changed. Our morality needs to be enhanced. We have enough data to understand the creative versus entropic forces in this world. We have enough data, we have enough experience, we have enough viewable results in the world that we can start to change rules, laws, and punishments. You can't strip away everything that's good, cause nothing but entropy around your production, and still be entitled to yachts and fancy cars and $15 million homes. Look at how we're rewarding people. And understand that this is how we have done it. I often think about what it must be like for the cultures that have been erased by our culture. And maybe they knew it at the time, what they were up against, but I don't really think they did. I don't think they understood that this is the end result of our culture. This is the end result of our short-sighted morality. On the plus side, we're intelligent. We can change it. We can recognize the faults we've had and change it, reverse it. Like I've said before, one of the most overlooked things about climate change today is that we can affect our climate. Yeah, we've done it in very negative ways, but we've done it. We can do it, which means the reverse must be true. The problem is we need to get at those underlying causes, those underlying short-sightedness, and we need to come up with replicatable ways of correcting it. If those ways, and we need to find a way to make those ways profitable. Our history right now tells me that profitable means a loss of resources somewhere, somehow. It's almost always a net negative. We take resources from the earth, from the mountains, whether it be iron or whatever it is, rubber. We take that and we produce something with it, and then eventually, usually nowadays, sooner rather than later, it sits in a landfill. It goes from a positive to functional to waste. And we're getting better at recycling. I love that project they're doing in the ocean right now where they're cleaning up that pool of plastic. Those guys are makes me proud to think of that. But those are like those pools in the ocean that they're cleaning up, and that we all can be proud of them doing that. That problem is everywhere. That problem is in our soil. That problem is in our lakes, our rivers, the types of plants that we plant. I saw this, Our Planet on Netflix. They showed part of the Amazon jungle where they completely wiped out the diversity and planted the same kind of tree. It's like you can see a hard property line where there's just this commercial trees, and then you've got raw jungle. That's loss of diversity for commercial purposes. It looks like creation. It looks like creative forces, but its net result is entropic forces. That needs to be changed in our morality. Otherwise, we're never going to stop this. We need companies right now that are coming up with the solutions that create positive energy as a result. And it will probably be, at first it will definitely be less profitable. But this is the step we have to take. We can't just clean up our messes and recycle it into a bit. That's good, but we need, that's not replicatable. We can't get 1,000 different companies doing that. Maybe we could, I don't know. But we can't get 1,000 different companies doing that for our soil and our biodiversity and preserving species on this planet, because a lot of them are going extinct. A lot of our biodiversity is just dying. Those solutions need to be replicatable. They need to be treasured and honored. You can't have only the positive attention on the things that are causing entropy. The rewards in this world cannot go almost strictly to things with net negative, with entropic results. That's the if you want to save the environment, that's the reversal. We need to put together organizations that find these solutions and find them in replicatable ways. Because it doesn't do to just have one success story or a highly profitable organization in some Midwestern state. It doesn't do. It has to be, the world is watching you succeed at this, and the world wants to copy it. It can't be some corporate project that they use as some carbon offset. It needs to be replicated. It needs to be the focus. And we're having this thing where they're calling it a lot of people don't want jobs, but if we start to focus on jobs that give people purpose and meaning, maybe we can reverse that too. I mean, look at the mass scale. I think that there was a video by the same people that did Our Planet on tipping points in our environment. What if there is a workforce tipping point? What if there is that we have pushed the workforce to the point where, just from my experience, to keep my job, I have to deal with people who want what I have and were willing to stab me in the back to get it. I have to deal with making profits as the priority of my day. I have to forego other things in order to keep my job. That kind of pressure on the workforce. And imagine that in commercial. Oh, if you're actually selling people things over the counter, imagine your job is to go and work as hard as you can for as little as they can get away with paying you to sell crap that does nothing but damage your world. How does that not affect your morale? Is there a tipping point in our workforce where there's a point where you can't suck any more out of us? We're not willing to do this crap anymore for as little benefits as you can get away with giving us. Is that what we're starting to see the beginnings of? A workforce tipping point? We need replicatable companies or nonprofits, or whatever we have to do to start making these solutions, making them documented, collecting the data and sharing it. There has to be an interest in seeing the data so we can spread it. I think that's part of what patent law gets in, how it gets in our way, because we don't want to share corporate secrets. I don't know, that's I started this as what I thought would be like a 5-minute video because of the ideas that were keeping me awake tonight. But so I'm gonna try and cancel it there. Okay. Sorry for the rant. It went a little bit longer than I expected. But thanks for watching.